This is going to be a long video. Hi, I want to film my journal ecosystem that has been changed multiple times this year. I wonder if I have an attention deficit disorder that I'm unable to commit to one journal, but then I saw other content creators and they're pretty much the same. They also hop around between planners, but they consistently plan and they use different planners because life's too short not to. They just do whatever they feel like and whatever is right at the time, which is what I want to do with my planner as well. So just for a recap, at the beginning of the year, I was finishing up using this weekly planner, and I used a bit of it 3 weeks, yeah, 3 weeks of it, and I use it to plan my work. And I'm particularly happy with these 2 pages because they just seem so nice. And then my new Hobonichi planner arrived, and I started using this one, and it's such a pleasure to write in Hobonichi because it has this quality that just makes you incredibly happy to use. I filled the beginning pages with all these stickers because I was on a sticker roll and I bought so much stickers, and I tried to make them all sync or in line with all the colors. And the blue is blue, the red is red, the pink is pink. And after I decorated all this, I wanted to start using this as my daily planner. And so I began using this quite diligently. I'm sure that this has made its way onto my channel many times, and I'm quite proud of it because I have been using it for a few months. So there's December, January I've used, February I've used, and I took this planner with me on my New Year's trip, and I quickly discovered that I have so much to write. I have way too much to write, to the point where I filled up these back pages, like these 200 back pages. Granted, I was using my thicker pen, so the print came out thicker than my thin pens. Look at the print over here versus over here. But over here, I made such a conscious and great effort of jotting down what I ate, how much I've walked, and it was just a very lovely time. But alas, this has to come to an end because I filled up the 200 pages. It's just all used up. Yeah, so I have to resort to my second one, which was right here. And this was a practice journal, so the stickers are not as nice as the one in the green Hobonichi, but the date all matched up as well because the date in 2020 matches exactly with 2026. So I left off in March and I kept going throughout April. So this spread I'm pretty happy with. So I've used this for a month and a half-ish. Yeah, maybe 2 months. And then I realized that I had to move on to something else. Not because I finished up using the past 2 pages. Like, at some point, I'm a bit afraid of using up these pages because these are the last true Tomoe River paper that's made on the number 7 machine. Even though I really like it, but there's not much pages left. So I kind of want to save these pages for when I have something that I really need to save this for. But I have to use this up by the end of the year. I mean, yeah. So from January to April, I used this planner, and then I used this planner from April to the beginning of June. And that is when I started to hop to another planner that I've custom ordered, which is right here. This one. Actually, I started using a passport planner because I saw online that there was this lady, there was this content creator who used the traveler's notebook, pocket sized, and I cannot really find a, so I have a pocket sized traveler's notebook in passport size. So, and she used it so much that the cover is mirror-like. So when I put my fingers down, you can see the reflections over here of my fingers. I don't know if you can see it here, but you probably can. But because she has used it so much and she polished it so much, the surface has become shiny. So at some point in my mind, in the back of my mind, I was like, I really want that as well. I really want a really shiny surface to play with and to tour around in, and I really want to be able to polish and smooth out my journal all the time. And because of that, I started reusing my passport sized journal, and to do that I had to dig through my archives of notebook inserts. I have hundreds of notebook inserts, and I took one and I started writing my my journals in here. So what is the first date? Okay, I didn't really write down the date, but the first date that I wrote down here is probably this one, April 26th. So on Sunday I start writing this one. I really like how I put sticker layout because I'm not really a big layout girl. I just write whatever I have because I have so much feelings that I want to write down. I don't know why I talk so much. There's just so much crap I have. But eventually, this is also like a pen testing page because I also use this pen along this uni Jetstream pen with different colors because I want to experiment with different colors. My usual go-to color is brown ink on everything. And then I started to experiment slightly with doodling, watercolors. I'm really into drawing of these little houses, like van life houses, or little houses on wheels, like those house moving castle type of things. And then I started experimenting with watercolor. And even though this is really lightweight paper, it does not bleed through because it is specially made lightweight paper, and I really like it a lot because this is very, very affordable. I think this comes out to about $2 or something like that. One of them, yeah, less than $2. Okay, so at some point when I was finishing up here, I don't know what date is today, I was experimenting with different kind of layouts. Maybe it's August, no, not August, May or early June, when I was like, okay, I want an actual leather journal cover that could patina. So because I want that, because the traveler notebooks cannot patina, not really. I mean, they can change colors and you can do whatever you want with them. They are very durable leather, but they don't really have that aging feel. Or the ones that I already have are already really old and pretty much done with them because I bought them secondhand and they were already like 10 years old. So that was like 5 years ago. So they're at least 15 years old by now. So the one that I really want now is a brand new leather journal that could patina. So I did a lot of research on the type of leather journal that I want and the type of leather I want, and eventually I came up with, I searched for a Italian leather called the Mbox leather, and it is right here. This is the Mbox leather, and it is brilliant because it does patina quite well. I've only used this for maybe a month and a half-ish, and this is the one that I keep inside the cover all the time because I don't want this to get bad. So I started with this. This is an A6 size Mbox leather journal. It's amazing. It has a pen loop over here, it has a little pocket in front, and when I flip it over like this, oops, it has a little pocket where I can put my, and it has a pocket over here, it has a pocket over here, there's more pockets over here, and it has a zipper pouch in which I put my stickers. I'll have to refill stickers because I used up most of the stickers. And then over here there are 2 inserts. So usually I put 1 insert over here, but because I take this out too often, I just don't put it in over there anymore. I just leave it like this, and then I use a band to wrap it up. So I started to use this as my feelings journal, a small insert as my feelings journal, and I use this one as my draft journal. I had this brilliant idea that I'm going to jot down whatever I ate and write down the bites I've took. But then I realized that if I make a bowl of soup, all the bites that I'm going to eat are soup. So how's that gonna work? I don't know. But I want to keep this going, which is why I'm writing on this type of paper. And I kind of want this to be perpetual. Like I want this to continue on forever because I'm trying to do a more mindful eating and to build a healthier relationship with food. So this is my draft because it's so thick. This has 438 pages. This only has 128 pages. So I write my feelings here and I write my drafts or doodles in here. And starting from June 15th, it's July now, it's the end of July now, I wrote down whatever that I have, whatever feelings that I have. In the beginning of June, I wrote down my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I wrote down how I felt that day, what I experienced. I rather really like this. And then towards the future pages, I started to put more and more stickers. I'll film a really close-up flip through of this later because I want to tell everyone about my life or record about my life. And I started experimenting with borders, boxes, but then at some point, if I have too much stuff to say, I don't put stickers. I just put pure feelings in there. And sometimes I put stamps from museums, and this is a really meaningful stamp because it memorializes the lives that were lost fighting the World War II in China. So I don't really feel like writing anything else because it feels sacrilegious to write whatever I have next to that sacred stamp, right? So sometimes I write lyrics. And then I've discovered this way of writing where I put a sticker in and I write all around it. And then when I was discovering this, I start writing all over. I had to turn the notebook. It forces me to slow down and think about what I have to write. And I tried this again and I started writing this again. And I find that this method is so fun to be able to turn your notebook around. I started doing it more often. And then I started to experiment with adding even more stickers while I was writing the journals. And sometimes I'm experimenting with just leaving a blank space, and I try to translate some of the songs that I've heard online from other languages to English, and I've discovered that this doesn't rhyme, so I try to reword it using rhyme, and then I try to do cross writing, so writing in two different ways. And then some things happened and I tried to write poems. Which I don't think they're very good, but there are some lines which I really like. Maybe I will do a video dedicated to my poems, but for example, this line: there's nothing romantic with aggression, there's nothing beautiful with abuse, creativity born out of negativity, happiness from peace. It's just something that I was pondering about. And then after I wrote this really lovely but sad poem, I wrote the previous page is too sad. And that is it. There was a new song that I discovered called The Fire is Dead, and it's really, really good. It's made by AI, of course, but it's very good. I mean, I'm sure a human tweaked it a lot, but it's very good, yeah. So this insert does not have many pages. It has 128 pages, which I think is enough because I bought like 40 of these inserts, and this is the first one I've used. I'm just terrified of things running out when I really, really love them. I will not make that same mistake again. So I'm up to page 97, so I started from June 15th, and it is the, what day is today? Today is the July 22nd, I think. No, July 20th-ish, yeah. So I think I would use this up by the end of June. So this will probably last me a month and a half at most, but there's not a lot of pages left. And I don't use this callously. This is a good journal, so I write things that are important to me here. And over here at the end, I tried my hand at doing a habit tracker. Like I try to do a different format of habit tracking. And I don't know, it just doesn't look as pretty as I thought it would. So luckily I did this at the back, and this is the page where I counted all the grid. Yeah. So there's a few pages wasted with me trying to do a habit tracker. I mean, I was debating on whether to show this on video, but authenticity. Anyways, so this is my A6 journal, and I put some stickers here, I put some stickers in here. Wait, no, there's no stickers in here. I love this to death because this is my first Mbox journal, and as soon as I got it and I started writing in it, I knew that I cannot only have this. I need something else as well, because I need something to be written larger, in a larger font or print, because even with an A6 size, even though I write a lot in it, I am only able to use my EF point pen. I cannot use my M point. And I really, really, really love using my M point pen because I've had that pen with me for 8 years and it's so smooth. So because of that, I started ordering an A5 S, so a traveler notebook sized Mbox leather journal cover, because I wanted to. So this is my A5 size. This, and when I started doing it, I realized that if I turn it this way, I can write a long line without stopping, and I can use my M point pen, the pen that I really love the most because it writes so smoothly and silkily. It's incredible, 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 incredible. Yeah. So I started writing stories, or ideas, and I also number them. So this is thick insert. It has 438 pages, and I've used up 52 pages so far. Yeah. I'll do a closer dive with my inserts on this later. Now's not the time because this video is getting too long. I just wanted to introduce my other two journals that I ordered. So this right here, this goes right here. So the other journal that I really like and I bought is from a professional company. It's called the Brillo journal, and I find that this better than these two because this one has a binder, so it's more loose leaf. I really don't like using a binder before because I grew up with them. When I was younger in Canada, we had to have a binder for every single subject, so my backpack was always filled with binders, and I dislike binders because they tear the pages and they always have this sense of instability, like this sense of urgency or temporary fleeting. It's not really like permanent, so I've always avoided them. But because I wanted a journal from a professional company that actually uses good Mbox leather as well to compare the difference, so I bought this one just for fun. Secondhand, of course, yeah. So I bought this online, and there's some scraps and stains. It's fine. Yeah, I don't mind. And then when I bought this, I was pleasantly surprised by how it feels, because it just feels so smooth. It feels exactly the same. This one's made by a professional artisan. This one is made by an actual company. And the rings are lackluster because they have little spaces in between them, and I tend to stuff them full of pages because I'm afraid of running out of pages. But I find that this is best for commonplacing because I can just change out the pages that I like the most, and I can place the pages that I love the most always on top. So for example, starting to write poetry, write every day, use prompts, blah blah, like these tips on how to write poetry. And each time I open this, it's just right there. I mean, these are also meant to be portable, but this is such a chunky boy. I mean, it's so chunky and big, which I love how chunky it is. I love it so much. But this is portable. I can just tuck this into my jacket pocket and then just go. So the first page is how to write poetry, and then second page is mindful eating. I haven't decorated, like how to mindful eating, and the third page is walk for 10,000 steps and the health benefits. And then the fourth and the next few pages are lyrics, or what I ate for lunch that day, because I was out and I didn't bring this journal. I just had to write what I ate that day on this journal, hoping that I could transfer the information from over here to over here. And I wrote a little poem while I was eating a hot pot lunch with my husband. Hot pot lunch: steaming, bubbling, boiling, mini swimmers, dumplings, squiggly noodles flopping, chili explosion rising, mastication, eating. Anyways, it's not Shakespeare, but I thought it was such a lovely little lunch. Lovely little lunch poem. So while I was eating lunch, and I kept thinking about how to write poetry because I just keep reading this, and I just wrote a little poem about lunch. This is from a song, a lyric about the song. And then I was overcome with incredible strong emotions, and I started writing a long poem, which will happen later. And I try to experiment with layouts again. I mean, there are some pages that I don't like, which I can just tear out later. That's fine. And what is this? And there's this poem about this phrase I saw in a comment on TikTok. It was like, you're as cool as you think you are. You're both important and insignificant. You're both lovely and common. You're both incredible and trivial. You're as cool as you think you are. Your creations are beautiful. Your voice lyrical. No amount of anxiety will increase your worth. No amount of doubts will push you down. Anyways, I just wrote this poem and I thought, I should write this down. I should do a good copy of it and then post it in the front few pages so I can look at it every time I open this book, because I think it's lovely. So I had a dim sum lunch and I wrote down what I felt and what I ate. It was a little disappointing for the price, but it was a good experience because I wrote down everything. And then here's the quotes that I saw online, or some of the quotes I've adapted and changed. Let's see. I wish I could feel things less profoundly. I cannot. Even the sight of a blank wall, I feel deep sympathies. I think I adapted this quote from Sylvia Plath. But yeah. And I wrote a poem about my job, and I wrote some iambic pentameter exercises. Well, not pentameter, it's just iambic meter exercises. I walk into the kitchen for some tea. I ran a book club upon the shore of Brie. I don't know what that is. Okay. I sense the danger ahead in front of me. The choice I figure out piece by piece. To grab onto the honor vanity. Release and say goodbye to find peace. Is to find peace. Anyways. And there's some exercises about... Then there's some poems about exercises. Which... Let's see. Cardio steps, symphony and choir, beauty in rhythm, ascension fire, muscles and veins intertwine, biological lyre. Okay, so the meter doesn't match up. The number of syllables is too long, but divine sustenance, ambrosia and nectar. Immortal blood flow through an Olympian, 1,000 miles in a day, from here to Meridian. Anyways, yeah. And here is what I had for dinner yesterday, or a couple days ago. Yeah, this is just a Brillo notebook that I keep with me because it's very portable. It's just a pleasure to hold, and it's so thin, and it's just very, very, very cute. And now, this is something that I bought solely for vanity purposes. The leather quality is the same as this. It's an Mbox leather, but made from in the color of pink. And I really love this dusky pink. It's not like overtly flamingo-ish pink. It is dusty pink. But I didn't really know the size when I bought it. I thought it was going to be larger. I thought I bought an A7 size, which would be half of this. This would be an A6 size. So I thought I bought an A7 size, but when it arrived, it's an M5 size. So it's so much smaller than I imagined. And I tried to make my own inserts for this, but then it turns out that I cut this way too long. So I should have cut 1 more centimeters off of here and make this so much shorter. But I bought new papers for this, like new papers that would fill this up. So I want this to be completely full, just like this. I want the binder ring over here to be completely all filled up. Anyways, and this is incredible because the person who made this, the artisan, is just very talented, and she's a mom, and she's incredibly gifted, and she just makes these for fun, and then she just puts them on secondhand websites for fun, and I really like it. I mean, I bought this because I wanted to take it around with me and take photos of it. I wish I can fit passport size. No, I can't. Anyways, this is it. Yep. This is all I using currently. I'm quite confused, actually, about my journal ecosystem. I want an all-in-one approach, I love this so much. Even though I have this and this, whenever I open this up, I feel like I'm talking to an old friend again, because I've lived in this for a month and a half, and this has been my sole companion. But afterwards, when this appeared, it's like a brand new love, because I can write longer, and I wrote 50 pages in here already, so it does have my effort and blood and soul in it. And then when this appeared, it's just so portable, and it's temporal, it's not permanent, so I can make any mistake I want. So this is more freeing. So I'm still trying to figure out my journal, I'm still trying to figure out my journal ecosystem, because I don't want to have too many choices. I think it might be time for me just to stick with one and then figure things out later. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you.